Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and most of the gang is all here. Chris Paul, how are you?
What up? How you
All
feeling?
right. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm good.
Good, good. You have a good week?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
yeah.
How about you? How was your weekend?
Really fast. Really fast. I really consider Saturday my weekend, my one day off without, and it went very quickly. I overslept for an event that I was hoping to go to support a young friend of mine in his baseball games, and that didn't work out. And then I was doing other piddling stuff, running errands and stuff, and then the next thing you know, it was Sunday and back at work. Coy,
Mm-hmm.
how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. This figuring out this thing called life, as it progresses
Dearly
in
beloved.
various areas. Yes. Happy belated birthday to Prince.
Absolutely. Would have been his 65th birthday last week.
Yes. Yes. One of my favorites. One of my absolute favorites. But yeah, I had a great weekend. An eventful weekend. I had a family reunion, and that was great
Nice.
because this is the same dates when I had my father's memorial service and wake and what have you. So the last time that we were all together was 2 years ago for that service. This is a 2-year anniversary as
And
of this
now a
last week.
happier occasion, right?
Yeah, and we did get to, show pictures of everyone, growing up and what have you in later times. And they had a lot of photos of my dad, so that was great. And I really enjoyed seeing my family. Still getting things together with his home. I'm in the middle of crunch time right now. And it's just kind of revealing a lot of things that were supposed to get done with certain people, services that I hired that canceled at the last minute. God bless the lawn service that I hired. This man got in a bad car accident, so he wasn't able to.
Oh, that's what you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. And work is going interesting. I have a new assignment now where I'm front row help desk with persons whose computers are having issues. So as before, where I was behind the scenes doing programming, I'm right up front in the middle of the fire, and it's nonstop all day. So kind of reminds me of being back in the kitchen, to be honest.
You're back in the fire.
Yeah.
Mr. Lowdown, how are you? Yes.
Yeah, we hear you whispering.
You can't hear us.
You can't even mute yourself. You can't even mute yourself.
What's up, Sybil?
How you doing?
Hey.
What up?
How y'all doing?
Good.
Good.
You have some big news for us?
Yeah,
You want to share?
I'm a grandfather. I am
knew
a
it.
grandfather.
I knew it.
Congratulations.
Just in time for Father's Day.
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
And your birthday.
And your birthday.
Right there.
Right.
Everything is consolidated.
Yes, everything is
for Father's Day.
Father's. Well, happy Father's Day in advance to the two of you. Yeah. And while we're talking about it, happy Black Music Month and happy Pride Month to everyone. As we continue to talk about those two very important events. Coy, let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter and talk about your story in the newsletter. And of course, Coy is our social justice contributor. And yes, she is. And you are talking about I don't know if this is an interesting case, if it is a case that sounds like a lot of other cases. And is it a real social justice case in the true sense of the word, or is it just something that needs to be talked about and not under the social justice umbrella? Or perhaps I'm wrong. But Colorado is just no place to do business with the police. That's the one thing I've learned.
No, it is not. It is not. It is not. And here we go again. I came across this story first on social media, and I'm glad to have found sources to verify this story. Mm-hmm. So on the 2nd of June, a woman named Talesia Campbell received a text message from her husband, Quallen, and he's a father of two. He sent his location and a picture of an unknown white man sitting next to him in his car. And then the following text messages said, 911, send please, with an exclamation point. So she called 911 just before 1 p.m. to report that her husband was possibly taken hostage. She then described his car and the location, and come to find out the location was about 1 mile from the Colorado Springs Police Department headquarters. So she was transferred to 2 more dispatchers who were with the actual police, and they said that they would go and check it out and get back to her. So she didn't sense that there was any kind of urgency with this call. So she drove to the location herself and immediately recognized her husband's company car. And then she fell to her knees and screamed when she saw that her husband was slumped over inside the car next to the unknown man. And as people were gathering, they were questioning whether or not she should go and approach the car, open the door, because there was a gun in the man's lap. They couldn't tell if he was, conscious or unconscious. And there was no visible wounds on him. As she got closer to her husband, she noticed that he was bleeding. She checked for his pulse. He didn't have one. So her uncle, actually his uncle, who also went to the scene, called the police at that time. And this was at 2:09 p.m. This is when police finally responded.
An hour after she called.
Yep, an hour after she called. This is when police notated this in their online blotter. This is when their reports start at 2:09 p.m., not at the previous call. So where this is I feel like where social justice comes in is that she should not have been the first person to respond when you're calling first responders, especially in a hostage situation. As her lawyer, Harry Daniels, also stated that I can't think of anything that could take higher precedence than a hostage situation, except maybe an active shooter. The police were less than a mile away, but they never responded. Let's be clear. If the police don't respond to a hostage situation, none of us are safe.
Right. I agree with you. And I think it's a horrific situation. And as I mentioned, Colorado, I'd never realized that Colorado was such a horrible state. You think of the
and she's in Texas.
Yeah, right. And you look at some states like that as kind of a refuge, where they do a little drugs, they're up in the air, the skiing and the clean air, the Mile High City and all of that. And I'm referring to how high the city really is, not anything having to do with the Mile High Club. But there have been so many things that have come out of the state of Colorado, not the least of which is the treatment of Black people. This is really disturbing to me on so many levels. You think about the young man who was autistic, who was a gifted artist that was killed by police as he was walking along the road in Colorado, just going to the grocery store, and other situations of young people and bullying and things like that in their respective homes and schools and what have you. This is really, and I say this because, like I said, I just have this interpretation of, and I've only flown through Colorado. I've never really done a visit there or a vacation, so I can't speak to it. But it just seems like these stories are showing a different side of the state that they really need to get a hold of this, don't they?
I can speak for it.
Okay.
My sister is from Colorado Springs. We've been there a few times to visit. She grew up there. She still has family there. And I have other family that live there. And I've heard stories. I remember one time when she was growing up, she had a friend who was walking down the street and was shot to death. Mistaken identity. Didn't hear anything happen with this case or anything like that. Same thing with this story. This is a Black married couple. I'm starting to see the pattern in Colorado of racism often deals with crimes that happen to Black people that are just, they respond, but it's a delayed response. Only because they're required to do so, to do, the securing of the area. But as far as the follow-up investigation and getting other means of justice served to these victims and what have you, I have yet to see it happen in Colorado. Personally,
I think Colorado benefits from. I mean, as far as being black on the outside looking in, it feels like because they were at the forefront of legalizing marijuana.
Yeah.
Now, for black people around the country looking at that, man, you got to be pretty progressive and pretty liberal and easygoing, cool people to allow this. I mean, now it's normal to have legalized marijuana, but when Colorado did it, nobody was doing it.
That's right.
So you think this must be some cool state where everybody is just, live and let
very
live
welcome
and let's love. No, but that doesn't. Now we're seeing more and more. It doesn't apply to black people there.
No, they're cool on paper.
I'm saying that's exactly right. What she said is right.
And that is the truth. Cool on paper. It's another state that we should. That's another I guess list that we should begin. The states that are cool on paper, but in practice, not so much. And I should have known because I have revisited a TV show that takes place in Colorado. It's called Everwood. It was on in the CW like 15, 20 years ago. And so I've gone through all four. I'm in the fourth season of the final of the 4 seasons. And every week I'm always stunned by the it's very white. It's very white. Yes.
I said why?
Why? Because I enjoyed it in the beginning, and I wondered why I kind of trailed off and didn't really go back to it. And there was a black character on the show, married to a white woman. But as a rule, black people came in as guest stars for the week for one particular episode, then they were gone. Like Nia Long was in the last season of this, playing the daughter of the black character on Everwood. But every week, and with one exception, James Earl Jones played a character that was in and out. He was a jazz pianist, and he was a mentor to the son who was a prodigy. So I say all of this because it just kept coming back to me, like, where the black people at in Colorado? And why is it like once, maybe twice a season, they would have a black character? James Earl Jones would come in and out. But it's like, so I'm asking myself that, Huggy, why did I watch
We're gonna have to do a deep dive into Sybil's DVR one
television
day.
Yeah, really.
See what's on there. I picture she and her friend Yolanda on the phone, sipping wine and watching Yellowstone together.
We don't have the same taste in television watching. Like, she's Snowfall all day. She's BMF all day, you know.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. P Valley all day and night.
Yeah,
Real Housewives of Atlanta. Oh, that's not my jam. That's not what I do. So and because I have such horrific sleeping hours, I watch episodes in the middle of the night. So I mean, try to figure out why I watch these things. But I did go back to it because I was wondering why I fell off. It's a really good show, but it just doesn't represent well. And it's a lot like the shows of the 70s and 80s where there may have been one black person on the show. But Colorado is well represented. They don't have a lot of interaction with black people. Wow. And
even though they're there,
showing true to form from the TV show and to reality. That's my point.
Yeah. And I do want to add with
Michael Stallworth said, let's see what the interesting Michael Stallworth has to say. Most of us in Colorado are in Metro Denver. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm sorry, you were saying, Coy?
I do want to add just a couple of details I wanted to share. The police spokesperson for this particular case said that he couldn't comment because of an open and active criminal investigation into the deaths. And the El Paso County Coroner's Office haven't released the names of the men who were killed, but confirmed their autopsies were done on June 5th.
A couple of days ago.
Yes.
Just a few days ago. Yep. You can say what you will, but on paper only, as you say. And they really need they need a stripping down of their policing system from state all the way down to local police as far as the way they're treating folks. And the other stories that we talk about in the What You Need to Know newsletter The indictment of Donald Trump announced Thursday by Donald Trump. The real charges were opened on Friday as the case was unsealed in South Florida. A lot of people were concentrating on the DC case as well as Georgia, looking at that, but not so much because the special counsel, Jack Smith, had been brought in to look at DC as well as the Florida cases. And the Florida case just kind of popped up there. And 37 charges. On the part of in this 45-page indictment, 37 felony charges and alleging that Donald Trump endeavored to obstruct the FBI and grand jury investigations and conceal retention of classified documents at his retention. He held on to stuff that he should not have taken from the White House, right? And a lot of it had to do with espionage or the safety of our country and sharing them. Perhaps that is the concern, that he shared it with people who had no business, no classification upgrades to deal with this. And there was often the mention of Iran, and now they're casting doubt upon his son-in-law and what he did to get $2 billion from the Saudis.
You know what he did.
Yeah, young Kushner and Jared, and so all of these things are questionable, especially where they found the boxes, right? Showing pictures
like he was doing a crate challenge with documents. So there's boxes of documents just stored,
everywhere, in a ballroom, in his bedroom, in his bathroom. It was, and that couldn't have been his bathroom. I'm thinking that it was like a guest bathroom.
Yeah.
But just such little regard for papers that were supposed to be going to the National Archives that concerned the security precautions. And
they was going to the archives, not our archives.
Yeah, right. They're going to the bathroom archives, right? But Chris, did any of this that came out surprise you?
I mean, it was already bad when this whole thing started, where it was announced that Donald Trump had kept classified documents. It was already bad. But to see the sheer volume, like you said, boxes not just stacked up in the bathroom around the toilet, but the shower was full of boxes. I mean, how did they get all those boxes out of there?
Kmart's, curtain, and there's still more stuff.
There's no way that was that didn't accidentally happen. You didn't find a couple of documents in your briefcase.
That goes to show you how many documents they probably had, bro.
Right. Because they got rid of a lot of them too.
Yeah. They sent back stuff. Yes, Coy. Right.
They were probably cleaning up because they knew somebody was coming over.
Well, they had to know because the government kept saying, we need those papers back. I want my daddy's records. They were saying the National Archives, it's the law that you send these papers to them. And they're like, okay, we'll send some stuff back to them and send some stuff. And then when they came and saw all of this stuff
they need to open up that coffin up in Jersey.
Okay, where the mama.
Yeah. They need to open up that coffin. I guarantee you some documents over top of her, underneath her, or she might not even be in there.
She might not. Right.
Don't open that coffin. She finally got away from his ass. Let her rest.
It is crazy, and now the talk about this is a story about the security and everything, and people are saying, nobody really cares about this. The only people who are really talking about this and are horrified by this are Republicans who are running for president against Donald Trump, and they don't want to get on the bad side of Donald Trump. They don't want to get on the bad side of his supporters, and so there's a lot of concern how this is all going to play out on Tuesday in the city of Miami, but. And I mean, I'm really tired of hearing, all of the, he didn't do anything. He did nothing illegal. Yeah. And Lindsey Graham, saying, well, what about Hillary? And, what about the emails? And
I don't know what he has on Lindsey Graham, but it must be pretty bad.
He's got pictures of Lindsey and some farm animals, I'm pretty sure.
Lindsey, yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. And Carrie Lake said, well, if you're going to come for the president, you're going to have to come for 75 million.
When did she become so cuckoo? So
she really, when she was running for
she's stepping up. She is stepping up for him more than his wife. She out like she's married to him.
Where is Melania? Poor Melania. She's probably,
She's in one of those boxes.
Probably trying to get away.
So those are the things that we talk about in the What You Need to Know newsletter. We would love to have you. It's a free subscription. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box. First thing, Monday through Friday morning. We also talk about Brittany Griner accosted by an internet troll at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. Where else? No. And talking about her and the the merchant of death that she was traded in the exchange prisoner swap. And it's Ministry Monday, and the great Willie Mae McIver talks about God as the ultimate refuge. Lord knows we need to take him up on that at this point and where we are in this crazy country. So that is our What You Need to Know newsletter. Please take a look at it and share it and a subscription for the family and make a great Father's Day gift. May I make that suggestion for you? And other things. We're going to also ask for people's suggestions for that. So that's our newsletter, and we look forward to having you be a part of the What You Need to Know news crew. Thank you very kindly. So the what's really going on question of the day. And as I mentioned, Father's Day is here or soon will be on Sunday. And I'm going to try this one more time. And I've asked fathers for some suggestions and get very little, but I'm hoping that we can get some more from people who are out there listening and watching us today. What would the dads out there like for a Father's Day gift? A Father's or a Grandfather's Day? You both are now G-Papas, Grand Poobahs. For those like Coy and me, no, our fathers are no longer with us. Coy, I don't know about you, but I still like to acknowledge the great dads in our lives. And so asking people, first of all, going to the dads here, suggestions for Father's Day gifts that you would like to receive, or something that you've received in the past, or you're just thinking, man, wouldn't it be great to get, with the exception of that gift that normally is only given on special occasions between couples. So Huggy, are you blushing?
Knock on wood.
And that wasn't his desk.
You see me do like this.
Who's there? So let's open the discussion to the folks that are watching and listening, as well as the gentleman that we have here. Coy, do you remember giving your dad a great Father's Day gift, or one that he said, "Wow, this is really swell. This is super"?
I used to get him like Lakers stuff and Raiders stuff because those are his favorite teams, as are mine because it's his favorite teams. I think I took him to a couple of Lakers games before. I can't recall if it was around Father's Day, but I was trying to coordinate the two. He hasn't really asked for much. He likes ball caps. Like I got him ball caps, cards, and so I just keep the tradition going by. I still get him a card basically. Now that's what I keep doing now.
Yeah, that's nice. I like to send Father's Day cards and Mother's Day cards, even though I have neither. But I do think that we do need to acknowledge these people that play such important parts, not only in our lives, but in the lives of others. Chris, how many kids do you have?
That I know of?
Yes, we know of.
That's such an asshole thing for
you are the father.
That I know of. I have 4.
You have 4, and how many grands?
2.
Okay. And have you is Father's Day a big deal for you, or is it just another day?
Well, I try to tell myself it's just another day, because then there's no disappointment.
Have you been disappointed, Chris?
Not really. I can't be disappointed. I can't pinpoint anything I'd ask for. Like, I think the best Father's Day gift I ever got was from my daughter, and this has to be about 12, 13 years ago.
So she was a teenager, if that. Then
she wasn't a teenager. She was like 7 or 8.
Okay.
And she got these Post-it notes, and on each Post-it note, she drew a member of the Avengers and pasted them all over my office, all over my computer monitor. Saying Happy Father's Day on each one. I said, and I still have those. I said, those are my favorite right there.
Oh, that's really sweet. That's really sweet that you guys could make that connection over the Avengers. Huggles, what about you?
Not a damn thing, Sybil. Leave me the hell alone. That's what I want.
Why is that? What is it
about
that's a
father thing? They just want to be left
like
the hell alone.
Yeah, I don't want to go to brunch. I don't want to, have to, be social. I don't want to have to shower and shave and put clothes on Sunday. I just want to be left alone.
You know what's bomb for speaking as a dad? What would be bomb is if your family they can
drop
go
you
out,
off at
they
the
can go
club.
No, they can go out to brunch, but when they come back, they've got you a hellified take-home package. Let them get all your favorites and let you just sit by yourself and eat. And you didn't have to pay for it.
You didn't have to pay for it.
Just get us the food.
So, Chris, where would be your favorite spots to have them bring home food from?
Oh, hell. I can't think of anything in particular.
Chris,
that would be you.
Chris want a steak or something. Chris want
a nice steak.
That would be nice. A nice
glass of wine or something like that.
A nice bottle of wine.
Bottle. Not a glass. We're going for the whole bottle.
Right. Nice bottle of wine.
That stuff that Tom be drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Tom always goes for the good stuff. You're right.
Tom stuff be good stuff.
He does go for top of the line, top shelf stuff. Yolanda, I don't know if we have folks who are responding to this, but I think we're on to something here. Dad's Go Clothing on YouTube said, I just realized that what my boys can get their dad, a fitness watch, because his current one is broken. That's a good thing. His
watch is broken or his fitness?
His fitness watch.
Oh, fitness watch.
Yeah. Joe Robinson III on YouTube. I would like a year subscription to SF Jazz. I'm thinking that's San Francisco Jazz.
He says something about jazz all the time. This brother's
hint to Joey, Joy, and Natalyn. So
this guy's a big jazz guy.
Your daddy Trey wants SF Jazz, a big jazz fan. And Teresa Bishop on YouTube. My father passed last year in June. We'll be celebrating my uncle. He has always treated us like his children. That's a good thing. Yeah. I asked that of George Wallace as well. Happy Father's Day, Coco Sims says to Huggy and Chris.
Thank you, Coco.
Coco on YouTube, Coco Sims.
I did give my stepfather something from my mom. Served him papers. I did.
This is going to be your first Father's Day as a granddad.
As a poobah.
As a poobah.
It's special. I just be crying for no reason at all, Sybil. I don't know where it come from.
Your baby had a baby.
Yeah, just crying for no reason at all.
That's really nice.
I can't believe it.
You ladies should be serving your deadbeat baby daddies on Father's Day.
Serving papers?
Serving those papers up. They'll be so excited to get that card.
And open it up.
Open it up. Yep. You've been served. Negro.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good server.
Chris, do you have any? Let me get this. Michelle Lynn Summerall on Facebook. I gave my stepfather tickets to see B.B. King date night with my mom. I drove and sat nearby, but away. I knew they would never venture out to see the show, and he loved B.B. King. That was years ago in Columbus.
And the C-Bus. I saw B.B. King live too, actually.
Really?
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Never saw him perform live.
He's a bad dude, man.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And the only woman he was faithful to.
Lucille. Yeah, that's true. Because B.B. King had 19 children or something like that?
No, I thought he had more than that.
It was more. Okay.
No, I don't know.
No, Coy,
wait, what?
Yeah, he was quite the Rolling Stone as a jazz or blues man. Yeah.
The blues cannon.
It's the blues.
The blues cannon.
The blues cannon.
Chris, as a seasoned grandpa, do you have any words of wisdom for Huggy this Father's Day, or going into his new position as a grand poobah?
Yeah, your grandson was born 1 week ago. Don't expect a gift.
You sound like my daughter. My daughter said Your grandson was a week ago today. Don't expect nothing from me.
You know, I got this baby now.
Yeah. She be using the baby for everything. Can you go give me some pie? What?
Yolanda, I'm sorry. We had another person there. Janet Ferguson on Facebook said, all I had to give my dad was a bottle of E&J so he could sit on the front porch listening to Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay and Second That Emotion by Smokey Robinson. He was good. Now that's a great memory to have.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That is good stuff indeed. I think that whenever we get them a chance like Coy did with tickets to a game or memorabilia like that takes them a long way. Charlotte Bowen Bellamy on Facebook. My father, may he continue to rest in peace. My father was so happy he had a grandson and loved to get the Old Spice sets and the soap on a rope. I still have his shaving cup. Oh, that's really nice. That's those are nice memories to have. I don't know about that soap on a rope stuff, but I've only heard them used by a certain population inside the system. Yeah.
Coy about to leave on that now.
Carolyn Jones Jameson on Facebook. Best gifts PK can give my dad in case was going to church with him. A preacher's kid.
Preacher kid, huh?
Yeah.
They off the hook. PK's off the hook.
I
think Zion's got a couple PKs in his life right now.
Oh my God. Can we talk about him when we get to trending topics? Because that kid, what? You need to get him on the floor and just play. That whatever he's doing off camera is ridiculous. So Manuel Murphy on Facebook, you are fortunate, Huggy. I got 2 sons and no grandchildren.
Wow.
They're coming.
They're coming. Absolutely.
Coy, do you remember the best Father's Day you ever spent with your dad? Because I don't. My dad died when I was very young, so I don't have Father's Day memories the way I had with my mom with Mother's Day.
I was just always with my dad, so like it was always like that. I think one of the best ones was we went to one of his favorite or newfound favorite seafood restaurants, and our thing was crawfish. We used to eat a ton of crawfish anytime we got a chance. So I took him to one of his favorite places. I forget the name of it. It's not too far from where I am now. And we just had a bunch of crawfish and had a ball. My dad and I would just sit down and talk and laugh and just eat until we couldn't anymore. Wow. And that was one of our best things. And we used to do that on a regular basis, but yeah, I think that was one of our best. I paid for it that time. I insisted. My dad would never.
Oh, Big Willie at Spondivits.
Between that and getting him his little Calvin Klein obsession kit, he used to love that stuff.
Oh, that's cute. That's really good. Yeah, during my time, it was the Old Spice stuff. Z Walker on Facebook said, my 85-year-old dad just asked for a picture enlargement of his parents and his late wife of 65 years, my mom. Wow. So he wants some of those, I guess and that's a good idea for people, who are going through and finding old photographs and things like that and putting together a nice assortment of photos of family members. That's a great idea. I'm glad he asked for that. Ardelia Wilson, I bought my dad a Kangol cap and he loved it. Wore it every Sunday. Oh, that's so sweet on Facebook. That's a nice memory to have too. A good old Kangol. Pinky Jason on Facebook, for diabetic fathers, there's a watch that will check their blood sugar. Oh, okay.
That's good stuff right there.
So maybe one of the physical, the sports watches could do that as well. I'm not sure. Gregory Grant on YouTube, I would love to see Beyonce for Father's Day. All right, Big Papa.
I bet you would.
That's a damn good gift.
Is her concert still going on now?
Yeah.
I think she's still. I know Janet is. Beyonce, is she in this country yet? I know. Well, I know that Anita Baker is because she's talking about it online. Sammy Jordan on YouTube. Anything but a tie. People, are they still making ties? Are men still wearing ties? I like a man to see a guy wearing a tie every once in a while, because I'm pretty much of a casual gal. But
they're kind of hard to find.
They're not.
Yeah, well,
a tie is hard to find.
Yeah.
You must be a Miami Heat fan.
No. I had to get one from one of my 50 million jobs, and I was disappointed that I couldn't find a regular black tie.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Took a while.
So I'm going to close out by giving the response I got from J. Anthony Brown. Asked he and George Wallace, and he just said, "Pay me my effing money back." That's all he wants to say.
That's what he said.
Just pay me my effing money back, he says to his 3 kids. So, okay, kids. To all the Brown children, your daddy wants his money back.
And he meant that. He meant that.
And he meant
for real.
For real. All right. Thanks for participating. And I wish you guys an especially happy Father's Day, and to all the dads out there. I hope that you have a wonderful day with your family. Let's move to trending, and let's talk about your comedy shows, what you guys have coming up this next weekend.
Father's Day weekend, we're going to be in them streets. Friday night, we'll be in College Park, Maryland at the Holiday Inn. It's Huggy Lowdown and Friends with special guest Chris Paul and the one and only Cool Bubba Ice. Get your tickets at huggydmv.eventbrite.com, or you can text 855-GO-HUGGY. But then Saturday, we're going back out to Lynchburg, Virginia, one of our favorite clubs, the Clubhouse. We had a great time. Nice spot. The food was crazy. We look forward to that. You can get your tickets at clubhouselynchburg.com. We'll see you there Friday and Saturday. College Park and then Lynchburg.
Any relationship to the Treehouse?
Oh,
no. Okay.
It was fun, so it might be.
Okay.
Think about it.
A lot of fun at the Clubhouse.
Beyond the talking about the papers that were found in Donald Trump going and facing the judge that he appointed in the federal court on Tuesday, a lot of conversation over the weekend, Sunday morning, about the crash of a truck in Philadelphia that shut down a major highway thoroughfare, I-95, and sad to report that a body has been recovered after that truck crash. It caused the inferno that toppled part of I-95 in Philadelphia. The body has been turned over to the Philadelphia County Medical Examiner. It was recovered after the crash that caused the inferno. No injuries or fatalities have been reported immediately after the crash. Tanker caught fire about 6:20 a.m. Sunday and caused a stretch of northbound I-95 to fall on top of the truck. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's just like it just crashed down into to the thoroughfare there. And it's unclear Monday whether that driver or anyone else was trapped at some point, and authorities have not confirmed the status of the driver. And it started when the tanker driver, which was carrying some sort of petroleum product, took an off-ramp and crashed into a wall and hit the wall while trying to navigate the curve. He landed on its side. That crash into the wall ignited the fire. It was carrying 8,500 gallons of gasoline, according to the state police. And so it also points to something that has been talked about for years now, and I'm wondering how far along they're getting, is the really decrepit state of our infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, right, and the expressways. And so Philadelphia is no exception to, sometimes people get to a bridge and you just see it collapse. God forbid, somebody is on there, but that is something that we really need to be looking at in terms of spending the state money, federal money and state money, on rebuilding our bridges and reinforcing our roadways and highways, because they were in really bad shape.
Because nothing was getting done during the Trump administration.
Right.
So now, the Biden administration and anybody else going forward, they're really trying to play catch up now.
Right.
Yeah.
They're in cleanup mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And will be for some time.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this just kind of reminds me of when there was the incident that happened in Atlanta when all those barrels of fuel that were stored underneath the highway in Atlanta were ignited, caught fire, and it caused, bridge damage, collapse, all that other stuff. Thankfully, no one was hurt or killed, but it just makes you wonder. It was, because that fire was huge. It just makes you wonder, number one, what is the Department of Transportation doing to have all this fuel stored right under the highway? Likewise, with this particular tractor trailer transporting
85,000 gallons
in Philadelphia. And then on top of that, why do we not have updated procedures to store and transport highly flammable fuels?
Well, look at the train crashes that we've had lately.
All the derailments. That's because of all the deregulations.
This is stuff that happened like in the 1920s.
Yeah,
we're still dealing it in the 20s,
and some of the
2020s.
same transportation. The trucks and the trains were those were new back in the 20s.
Right.
Now we're 100 years later, and they're talking about replacing and getting the proper instrumentation. Well, they should have been doing that all along.
Right.
And I know it's easy for us to say that now and still be in a country that needs so many other things to feed and to house our people. But along the way, the money needs to be put into place regarding our infrastructure.
Right. And
it is pitiful.
And this is what people were ignoring during the Trump administration. They were just so happy to receive these, the checks that we were getting and what have you, which, it helps when nobody realizes the impact it has on our budget for other things that are needed. Now we're left with this big mess that has to be cleaned up with the administration that we have now. And I say this all the time. This is a pattern that repeats every time we have a president from over there, the Republican Party, and then we have a president that comes along in the Democratic Party or other parties that try to clean up and
the messes
heal.
Been left.
Yes.
And the pandemic really was a missed opportunity. You think of how nobody was out the house. This was a perfect time
to clear up all of that.
To work on bridges, to work on roads. There was no morning traffic. There was no rush hour traffic.
Right.
That's like 2 whole years.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. They talk about giving the money to the airlines and how people took advantage of that. There were people who were getting money in the state departments of transportation to keep them going so that when we came out of this, but the work was not done, Chris, you're right. That could have been done to really create something. So this is the anniversary of the murder of Rayshard Brooks. Coy and I were talking about this. This is the 27-year-old Black man who was fatally shot by the Atlanta Police Department, officer by the name of Garrett Rolfe. The police were responding to a complaint that Rayshard Brooks was asleep in a car at a Wendy's restaurant drive-through lane in Atlanta. I think it was a Saturday night too, I want to say, Coy. And Officer Garrett Rolfe arrived conducting a weapon search, a pat down, and a field sobriety test and a breathalyzer on Rayshard Brooks. While talking with the officers, Rayshard offered several times to walk home. He was in the vicinity of his home, and the breathalyzer stated that he was too drunk to drive, and they attempted to arrest him, not let him walk home and kind of follow along to make sure he got home okay. Right. But they were just bound and determined to arrest him, saying that he was too drunk to drive. Well, they had a physical confrontation in which Brooks grabbed, which was not smart and probably led to his demise. He grabbed the policeman's taser and attempted to run away. Rolfe pursued Brooks on foot. He turned and fired the taser at Rolfe. Rolfe then fired his gun 3 times at Brooks, hitting him twice. A third shot struck an occupied vehicle. And by the time Brooks was shot by Rolfe, the taser had fired twice, the maximum times it could be fired. And sad to say that at that point, he was transported to a hospital and he later died after surgery. They had footage from the policeman's body cams. They had a witness's phone video and the restaurant security system. and the police chief resigned 1 day later, the same day that Rolfe was fired, and the other policeman was placed on administrative duty. And the DA charged Rolfe with felony murder and 10 other offenses. Brosnan was charged with aggravated assault and 2 counts of violation of oath. And then the Fulton County DA, by the name of Paul Howard, used video clips from the shooting in his campaign for an unsuccessful 2020 reelection bid. But here's how it all fell out. Rolfe and Brosnan filed a federal lawsuit alleging they were attacked by Brooks and had the right to use force to prevent him from imminent use of unlawful force against them. On August 23rd, prosecutors announced both officers would no longer face charges. The use of deadly force was objectively proven. And the city settled with the family of Rayshard Brooks for $1 million. Just a really sad, that was during a string of these situations and the attacks on Black men, especially. But just a really sad event. And it did not have to happen. It was one of those situations that just let him walk home. You follow him along, make sure he gets home. Somebody can come get his car tomorrow, put it in the pound, whatever. I don't recommend the pound because no telling how you get it back. But make sure that he just gets home. Why get to the point where he gets so riled up that he, takes the cop's taser?
It's obviously no comparison to this young man losing his life and the suffering of his family. But as a Black person in America, we all have to live with all that video footage. And you think of how many we've seen over the past years.
Yeah.
Because now it's out there. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. We have to carry all. I don't know how other races, do they carry it with them? But I know they don't carry it like we do. So while you're retelling the story of what happened to this brother, we're all just sitting here reliving it because we saw it. We watched that video
over and over and over.
We know, and also every time we watch it, we already know how it ends before you watch the video, because you know the young man is dead. So we're watching this horror movie that we know has an awful ending.
And then we're always told that this is what this person deserves. Every time it comes down to a Black person, it's never, it could have gone this way or things could have been different. Or understand. It's always just comply, just do this.
Why didn't he just comply?
Why didn't he just comply? It wasn't about. It wasn't about.
People said, why not just let him, when he ran away, let him go? You know where he lives. They already
they had everything.
He's not gonna get away, and the charge wasn't that serious, man.
Right.
Just let him go.
And then this is Atlanta police that we're talking about. To me, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody in the comments might chime in. They're one of the laziest police forces ever. You literally have to commit a major crime in front of them to get them moving. So I was shocked to see that they had this much energy for a man who barely had any energy to get home.
He was asleep in the drive-thru. That's how tired he was. And I don't know what influence he was under, but that's just so unnecessary.
It sounds like a bully situation to me. They were bullies in that situation.
Certainly
they're police.
Yeah.
And Erica Shields, who resigned, was also not only the police chief of Atlanta, but prior to that, she was the police chief of the Louisville, Kentucky Metropolitan Police Department. And of course, Louisville is where Breonna Taylor was killed by the police there. It's a horrible day to remember and to think about the fact that, tomorrow they're going to have the funeral. Reverend Al, I believe, is going to do the eulogy. He is now the eulogizer in chief for these cases of a young woman who was killed by a Black woman, mother of 4, killed by her white neighbor, shooting through the front door with her weapon. And the woman just trying to get some clarity and get her kids' stuff back that this woman had taken, who was an absolute terror to the neighborhood from all reports. Another. And
the white woman can show up if she wants to because she's out on bond.
Yeah, she just
that's crazy.
Yeah,
a murderer,
right?
Cold-blooded.
And she, she had 4 days between the shooting and when they finally came and arrested her.
Right.
How about that?
If there's
Not us.
if there's no outrage on social media, she doesn't even get arrested.
Right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right, Chris.
Same thing with the man that choked the Michael Jackson impersonator.
Yeah. His and now Coy, the man that killed him is putting out videos and giving his side of the story to the public, because apparently he can't go anywhere. He can't do anything because people are giving him such a hard time on the streets.
Well, you should have thought about that before you killed an innocent man.
And then there's that. A lighter note, the host of Wheel of Fortune, Pat Sajak, has just announced his retirement. I don't know what that means for the game show watching public, but he's been there a mighty long time.
It means another job for Steve Harvey. And he can do it.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I saved these stories for you guys. I wanted to do this a couple of weeks ago, but now I have you. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear the Trump too small trademark dispute. The High Court said that they will hear a dispute arising from an unsuccessful effort to trademark the phrase Trump too small to use on T-shirts and hats, and a nod to an exchange between then presidential candidates Little Marco Rubio and Donald Trump during the 2016 primary.
So that wasn't Stormy related?
No, but in a way it is. At issue is the case Vidal versus Elster, that whether the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office violated the First Amendment when it refused to register the mark Trump too small under a provision of federal trademark that prohibits registration of any trademark that includes a name of a living person unless they've given written consent. They'll hear the arguments of the next term in October, which begins in October. And the dispute goes back when Steve Elster, a California lawyer and progressive activist, sought to trademark Trump too small. He wanted to, as I said, put on shirts and hats. And it goes back to the back and forth between Trump and Rubio having during the presidential nomination television debate. And Rubio made fun of Trump for allegedly having little teeny hands and insinuating that he also had a small member. This is what the Supreme Court is going to be. You know, we're waiting for affirmative action. We're waiting for some sense on voting rights and
abortion rights.
Hello. But this is what they've agreed to hear. Trump too small.
I was actually laughing just thinking about what Donald Trump did to the Republican Party. I mean, remember they were all on debate stages just name calling and trying to take shots like that. Yeah. It's just unbelievable.
It really is unbelievable. This is where we are.
Right.
This is where we are.
A whole bunch of TikTokers.
Let's move to entertainment, if that wasn't entertainment. Actress Uzo Aduba not only presented an award at Sunday's Tony Awards for the Best on Broadway, the Orange is the New Black actress also presented her bun in the oven. She cradled her stomach as she walked on the red carpet Sunday. And she confirmed that she and her husband, filmmaker Robert Sweeting, are expecting their first child together. This was also in an Instagram post on Sunday. So we wish her good wishes. And her husband will be celebrating his first, I guess, official Father's Day. And then we'll await the birth of their child. And congratulations. Good on them. Yeah. Good on them. And there was, the other one thing I want to talk to you guys about. Did you see the fight, the fight between the NBA Heat mascot, Bernie, and Conor McGregor?
I saw that. I thought it was just a skit.
It was a skit that went very bad.
Yeah.
They're promoting this new product that Conor McGregor has for pain management. And so he had these huge boxing gloves on, and he was supposed to hit Bernie, the mascot, and he hit with the Conor McGregor power that he has, and he hit Bernie, the mascot. He's a mascot. Right. He knocked the guy to the ground, and then he hit him again, and he had to be taken to the ER.
What?
They took him to the emergency room, and Conor McGregor got booed by the audience, and I guess that maybe that's what made the tide turn for the Heat, and things just started to go badly.
That's kind of funny.
It was crazy. Chris, it was like a bad Saturday Night Live skit.
It's a shrewd lawsuit coming right here.
Oh man.
And I encourage him to show up on the witness stand wearing his mascot uniform.
Okay. All bandaged up and everything.
With a neck brace.
Right. Exactly. All right, guys. We're gonna close out with a Yogi's Jewel. And today's jewel, we continue our salute to people who are seeking solace during moments of grief and times of grief. Whether it's a person, place, or thing, the pain of loss is real and cannot be measured by others. Be supportive. And we offer you our support as you are going through this. And I wish you all a wonderful Father's Day. Coy, I wish you peace. And we will talk to you guys again soon. Hope to see you next week. Thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate you. Aloha.
See you next Monday. I'm committing.
All right.